And we are live. We are live. What's good, y'all? It's your man DL saying welcome, welcome, welcome. Wrong button. One of those podcasts. Oh, it's been a while. It's been a while. I'm not even sure if I know how to work the buttons, guys. Yeah, so I'm just checking everything. Let me do it's literally been so long. As you can see, I got the computer situation squared away. Um, yeah, I got that done. And I need to try something on the settings. Um, I'm just with what we have here, and yeah, I'm just trying to do this thing, guys. How y'all doing? Guess who's back? Guess who's back? So bear with me. We're gonna get through this. If it's a struggle, I don't care. But I'm just listening. I'm just trying to. I'm just checking out some stuff, and let's see if the intro works. Here we go. And we are live. What's good, y'all? Welcome, welcome, welcome to the I Really Want to Know podcast, y'all. All right. All right. Looks like it's working. Looks like it's working, man. How y'all doing? It's a Sunday. I know a lot of folks who look for me are looking for me on Sundays. Um, I was like the audio is good. We're just gonna talk, guys. We're just gonna talk. Like we'll see how this goes. If we get some folks to jump up here and want to talk, we'll drop a link and all that good stuff. Man, we got a lot to talk about, don't we? We got a lot to talk about. Where to start, man? First of all, how y'all been, man? What y'all been up to, man? I am DL Saint. This is I Really Want to Know podcast. For those who follow me, you guys know I had a problem with my setup with my computer, and it boiled down to just it was a Windows problem. Windows 11 did not want to work with my machine. Took me a long time, just kind of integrating with what I had going on in life and everything else. Man, yeah, we got it squared away. I actually found a dude in my area who hooked me up, brother Carlos, CL Computers, in the town and country area of Tampa, not too far from the airport, guys. CL Computers. If you guys have any issues, check him out. Check him out. Independent, small owned businessman. He's doing his thing. Yo, he hooked it up. I went to quite a few people. And once I found him, we were squared away really in a matter of hours. Other places were just, they didn't want to talk to you, man. They just doing their thing, not really worried about customer service or focus on what they're focused on. This brother's been in business for 19 years, same location. A Latino man, like from Cuba, who immigrated here legally and started a business and is just taking care of people. You have any concerns with your computers or your phones, yo, that's where you need to go if you're in Tampa, man. CL Computers. I'm definitely gonna go see him and make it like a video, like a little bit of a commercial, and just put it on here so you guys can see the man if you're in the Tampa area, or if you're anywhere really, you got some questions about your computer. That's the man to talk to. That is the man to talk to. Brother Dino Dinosaurs in the building. What's good, man? Shout out. Yeah, this is a test. We're trying to see if we're back. If we're back. Yeah, we're just trying to see if we're back, man. It's good to see you, bro. Appreciate you staying down with me, no matter what. Like, brother Dino's right there. I was kind of out there, not forced to, but I was trying to keep up with posting, and I was just doing stuff from the car, doing stuff from like the living room, doing stuff from my buddy's pub, just from wherever. But I really like this format, man. I like to be able to interact in real time. Um, Man, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy what is going on, man. Like, we're definitely gonna be talking about tariffs. like when we're doing this little test here today, we're going to be talking about tariffs. We're going to be talking about what's going on in the United States, Canada, Mexico, China, and now the EU. Is just wild, y'all. It's just I'm trying to figure out, like everyone else, I'm trying to figure out what's going on. We're going to be talking about, what the Trump administration has been doing. Definitely got to talk about that because that is such a major thing right now. People getting fired, tariffs being enacted, but not really, but kind of, sort of. People being removed from their jobs. Is it legal? Is it not legal? The political stance, like what's going on. You got Republicans pushing back. Why? Because it's affecting them. So we're going to be talking about all that stuff, bro. We're going to be talking about all that. And then whatever else comes up, man, we're going to talk about relationships. That still seems to be what, a lot of folks, no matter what's going on in America, like the country could be on fire. People don't care. They just want to talk about 304s. They want to talk about F-boys. Okay, we'll talk about that too. Definitely what's going on in the dating scene is different than what I've been accustomed to over the decades. But we definitely got to talk about it because I'm seeing it. It's crazy out here, bro. It's crazy out here. We got Brother Pitney in the building. What's good, fam? Glad to be back, man. Glad to be back. I'm not going to lie to you. Looks like the audio sound good out there, fam? Is the audio okay? Let me know. One in the chat or just a yes or something like that. The audio's cool. I haven't used this stuff for so long, and I had to take the entire setup to see my man Carlos at CL Computers. Like, he wanted to make sure everything was going right. So we brought the cameras in. We brought in the Rodecaster, the mixer, the computer. We brought everything in, and he made sure that everything was good. Thank you, brother. Like, better than before. I appreciate that, brother Dino. Dino. Been talking to Mandrell. He might even see that we're live and pop in here. But yeah, we're gonna keep this going. I gotta tell you, man. I guess we can start with Trump, and for people who are Trumpers, I know a lot of people who rock with me. I'm sure I lost a few, like people who didn't like necessarily rock with us every single day, but people on the fringes, they saw what I had to say about the current administration. But I want to get the conversation going. I enjoy talking to folks. Even if you voted for, Trump, if you're a hardcore Trumper, if you were a fence sitter, for whatever, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to get the conversation going and see what's next, because there's a lot of people, right? It is a lot of people out there who voted for something and didn't quite get it here in the U.S. And that's one of the things that we're doing. Like, I go out on the weekends and I'm trying to get folks in real life to sit down and talk. So, I mean, it is what it is. I'm glad the quality is even better now. Appreciate it. That's what's up. That's what's up. And I haven't even, all the settings were set. So I just plugged everything in, turned it on, and it seems to be working. So that's what's up. But, if you're watching this, if you're out there now, if you pop on with us, I'm definitely going to drop the link. If you want to come up and talk about what's going on, we can. I definitely want to hear what you have to say. I'm not here looking for a confrontation. I'm not looking for a viral moment. I really want to know what people have to say about this because so many people are affected. I knew it was going to be rough. You guys heard me when we were talking about this during the election. Like, it doesn't matter who the next president is. It's going to be rough. Whoever gets the White House. But I was saying, I don't know why you would even want the job. It was just, America was going a certain direction. I knew it was going to be rough, whichever president got into office. And with Donald Trump, I expected things to be bad, but I didn't even, in my wildest speculation, think this would happen. I just don't understand. Right? We're trying to figure it out. There's so many people trying to figure it out. Like, bro, what is he doing? You're hearing folks like, oh, he's purposely trying to crash the market. Okay. I would believe that if we see some evidence, man, because I don't think that Trump has a plan. I think he just wakes up and however he feels that day or whatever someone says to him is what he does. Something he saw on YouTube or whatever, he just kind of goes with it. the 200, what is it, 200% tariff, 250% tariff on the EU, on France. Like we're talking about like for wine and cognacs, that really hit me because I'm a cognac guy. So I'm like, what? Where did that come from? That it 25% on Mexico, 25% on Canada. And then, okay, we're not going to do that until April 4th. And then it's like, no, we're going to start immediately. And then we're going to, we're going to go 50%. We're going to on dairy and lumber and aluminum, or as they say over the pond, aluminium. Me, potato, I guess. Tomato. But none of this makes sense. And I'm not the only one who's caught off guard by this. Like the stock market completely was caught off guard, man. I'm seeing numbers out there like $5 trillion lost in the stock market over the, in less than 60 days. Crazy. And definitely chaos by the hour, bro. Like it's just, again, for someone like me just trying to figure it out, all politicians work for the 1%. There's no one in the 1% who is going to be okay with what's going on right now. It just doesn't make sense. You look at Elon Musk. I'm not even, is he still the richest man in the world? Because, bro, they're not even driving his car. What do they call it? The swastika mobile over in Europe. They're over here in America, man. They're destroying charging stations for Tesla. They're burning Teslas, vandalizing Teslas, protesting in some places. And then you got the media hyping up a lot of stuff. You hear about the protests. It's like, okay, how big really was the protest? You might have like 4 or 5 people show up at a Tesla dealership with signs and screaming. Like that's not like a major protest, right? But you don't know. It could be, right? Like it could be. So Elon Musk is hurting so bad that he was selling Teslas on the White House lawn. I ain't never seen nothing like that before in my life. Trump going to the Department of Justice, basically letting everybody know, like, yo, this is my department. I'm the law. We coming for you. That's not good. And then, right before I went to bed yesterday, I guess early this morning, because I'm a night owl, the Houthi thing, like, okay, we're attacking Houthis in Yemen. Okay. Right. So it's just that topic alone, just talking about Donald Trump, and there's so much going on with this current administration. I'm a hawk. You guys know I'm a hawk. I have no problem dealing with the Houthis, like attacking them. They attack us, we attack them. I got no problem with that. Like hit them hard. I don't have any problem if it came down to it, getting down with Iran. Like I have no problem doing that or allowing Israel to do that, and we'll just back Israel. But again, this is the guy who was like, I'm the anti-war guy, and all of his people were like, yeah, we don't fight any wars with him, and the economy is going to be great. We all have money. The interest rates are where they are, and Jerome Powell made it clear, and he ain't trying to lower the interest rates. So there's so much. It's just so much going on, bro. Just so much, man. Bill Burr. Yeah, man. Bill Burr is all over Elon Musk, man. You guys know that's one of my favorite comics. Bro, definitely in my top 5. Especially right now, if guys are out there doing it right now, Bill Burr is pretty hard to beat. He's going after Elon. He's going after 1%ers. He's going after, he's always free Luigi, like that sort of thing. That's still crazy. America right now, America's in a strange place. Like America's in a strange place. People were real excited. I figured Trump would have, favorable numbers for at least the first year. I thought his numbers would kind of stay where they were, wouldn't go down too much, wouldn't go up that much. I thought it would stay where it was. But then he came in this whole Doge thing, and they started, firing like government workers. The United States government is the biggest employer, the largest employer of Americans in this country. Like it's hands down. If you remove the people who work for the government, like when you go back over the past, 10 years or so, and you look at who's been getting hired, like the U.S. government has been hiring everybody. Like those job numbers, those big numbers you see in America, that's been the U.S. government for the most part. Trump comes in and just like, you're fired, the probationary people, you're gone, da-da-da. it was like north of 300,000 people, we think, because we never got the true numbers, got fired. That had an immediate effect on the markets, right? Well, wouldn't it? The average of all the people who got fired, those government employers and employees, the average salary was around 104,000. I remember reading that. It kind of makes sense. It's some government employees that make a lot of money, right? At the top, those bureaucrats and stuff like that. And then, so you got people out there who are maxed out in pay, and you got most of the people are just making normal wages, probably around $60,000-$70,000. But when those people at the top who are getting paid the max pays and all those other incentive pays, when you add them in there, raises the average. So yeah, about 104,000. That sounds about right to me. I mean, like air traffic controllers. I don't know a single air traffic controller who makes less than $100,000. It doesn't matter where they work. I personally don't know any. I'm sure they're out there, but like full-fledged, done training air traffic controllers, no matter where they land in the agency, $100,000 a year. They were trying to fire air traffic controllers with all the stuff that's going on with air traffic. Insane stuff, guys. Insane stuff. We got Dr. B in the building. What's good, fam? Good to see you, bro. Last Good Man in Jersey is with us as well. Last Good Man in Jersey, what's good, fam? What's up with you? Appreciate you coming through. So it's a lot going on. So I honestly believe I'm no expert, guys. I'm just a dude trying to figure out, like y'all trying to figure it out. When those people got fired, when they went after all the government employees and they just started firing people. That right there, I think, was the last straw for the market. And as we saw, the market tanked. You couple that with the tariffs, you couple that also with, the crackdown on illegal immigration, which again, I'm for it. I'm for a crackdown on looking for waste, fraud, and abuse within government. It's tons of money out there. I'm for that, right? I'm for cracking down on illegal immigration, people who are here illegally, whatever. I'm for that, right? But there's a way to do it. And I'm pretty sure that tariffs make sense, but there's a way to do it. The way Trump is coming in here, bro, is just like, what? Right? What is going on? It's you know what I mean? It's like it's like an unchecked child in the store, man, just running around knocking things over, going crazy. Like, well, there is no rhyme or reason to what's going on, right? Why did I mention the illegal immigration stuff? Man, it costs money to do what they're doing. To go out here, put these teams together, go out looking for folks. That costs money. Putting federal troops at the border, that costs money. This tax cut that they wanted to push through, right, that really helps the wealthy, that costs money. And that's money that's not coming into the government. So all the things that he's doing doesn't make sense. Wall Street's looking at it, trying to stay ahead of it. They can't figure it out. Like, well, what's going on here? Why? Like, if your goal is to bring more businesses back to America, you want more factories back in America, you got to understand that you got to build all that up, right? All that infrastructure has to be built out. We don't have that stuff in America now. You want to make cars in America, right? You're going to put this heavy tariff on cars. We can't make cars in America, like at the numbers that they want. Like, we want to start making Fords and Chevys here again. Like, well, Fords and Chevys aren't made here, right? You looking at China, correction. You're looking at Mexico. You're looking at Canada. The way that they get the parts and bring this stuff in is, if you just do a blanket tariff, that's absolutely going to cause a price spike in all these vehicles. And right away, you're like, yeah, it's going to be about $10,000 a truck, $10,000 a car. Just no rhyme or reason, bro. No rhyme or reason. So, Wall Street was looking at all this like, yo, bro, what are you doing? They know numbers. And I was telling my people, I'm like, hey, man, the Republicans going to break. It's going to be the money people first, right? Keep watching Fox Business. It's going to be the money people that are going to break first. They're like, hey, man, what you doing, bro? What you doing? And if those numbers are to be believed, bro, like $5 trillion of market cap gone from the stock market, bro, that hurt 1%. They feel that. It's not going to crush them, but they feel that. Like, yo, what are you doing? What are you going to do? I looked at Bitcoin before we started this, man. Like, Bitcoin's around 83,000. I'm looking at Bitcoin like, bro, it might be below 80 in the, might be in the 70s by this time next week or lower. Remember, Bitcoin was coming off those highs, 100,000 plus, and now, it's barely over 80,000. Right? Brother Dino, you're right, man. Musk won't pass security checks. He's not going to give up. Well, he'll probably give up his stocks now or move away. We're going to talk about Musk in a little bit, but yeah, bro, like, it's unprecedented for a president to move into the White House, start an administration, and then have someone like Elon Musk, like, hey man, just go out here and do what you do. You're going to hire a bunch of teenagers, some college nerdy kids, to go in and try to figure out the government. We're just going to make cuts. Like, they're just basically going in firing folks. Now, here's the thing with that. You look at that. The people who have lost their jobs so far, I firmly believe are going to get their jobs back. I believe what they did was illegal. Now, will all of the people get their jobs back, and will they keep their jobs? I don't know. But I'm pretty sure the way that they did it wasn't kosher. And, it's in the courts. And we already see that the courts right now is judicial that's pushing back against executive. Like, the only thing keeping Trump really in check are judges. Right? I mean, it's crazy. That's right. March Madness, man. NCAA brackets are coming up. Yeah. I've never really done a bracket. I don't watch NBA that much, but I will watch March Madness, bro. Definitely gonna be checking that out, bro. We got Brother Manziel in the building. What's good, fam? Yeah, Manziel's definitely, if I drop the link, I'm sure Manziel will come up and talk a little bit, man. He can kind of tell us about what's going on in the Middle East with the Houthis. And Brother Pitch saying some aspects of Trump's plan appear to be working. TSMC announced their increased the U.S. investment by $165 billion. Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. In theory, I agree with probably 90% of the stuff that they were talking about doing. Like, we can, like I said before, we can do these things, but you have to do it a certain way. And I think overall, I mean, like, 165 billion, that's kind of cool. But when you weigh that against the 5 trillion that was lost, you see what I'm saying? But here's the thing, bro. Who knows how this is going to turn out? All right. I'm not optimistic. Like, I think that my biggest problem with what Trump is doing, it just doesn't seem to be a plan. Like, it's just, you know what I mean? Like, on Monday is this, on Tuesday is that. Hell, I remember when Trump announced some tariff. Which one was it? It was the aluminum thing with Canada, right? My man Jay Swansea hit me and was like, yeah, man, did you see this, blah, blah, blah. And then I told him, like, well, no, that got changed. That's not the thing now. And he's like, no, this just happened 2 hours ago. I'm like, yeah, but 30 minutes ago, it was a change. It's just their messaging is not there. The Commerce Secretary, that dude, is saying one thing. Well, his people, his administration is saying one thing, Trump saying another. When Fox News is interviewing Trump saying, hey, is there going to be a recession? He's like, there's going to be some pain. The rest of them like, nope, it's not going to be a recession. No way, no how. Meanwhile, you just see the drops. But some of this stuff might work. And another thing, that's when people are saying that, he's doing this, he's purposely crashing the markets. I don't know, bro. I just don't know. Matter of fact, let me see if I can find. Let me just find a video we can react to. I don't think there's a plan. I don't think there's a plan, bro. Yeah, see, just over for the stock market. Trump's plan crash. Explain. How long is this? 14 minutes. Tilbury, this dude is English. This dude is English. We're gonna listen to what he has to say. I think he's more conservative. I've seen him on Fresh and Fit. I've seen him on like Chris Williamson. I think this Mark Tilbury. He's got like 5.1 million subscribers. We're gonna listen to what he has to say here. We're gonna see what he has to do. Yeah, I appreciate that, man, Julia. I'm trying to get back here, man. I'm trying to get back. Let's see. And Brother Penny said the 5 trillion in equities markets can be recovered once the market finds its equilibrium. Yes. I mean, yeah, you can lose it and you can get it right back. I agreed. After the tariffs blitz is over, see, that's a big problem, man. No one knows what's going on with the tariffs, man. No one knows. Like, no one knows how long, everyone was thinking, oh, this is just a negotiation tactic, and then he's like, bam, we're doing it. Yep, we're doing it no matter what. We're doing it. Okay, how long? To what end? Right? And then, of course, all the talk of Canada being the 51st state and, Greenland and Panama, it's too much. You got China out there like, yo, we can do what you want to do. You want to have a tariff war? We can have that. You want to have another kind of war? We can do that too. Everyone is looking at Trump, bro, and it's like no one's taking him serious on a world stage, right? America's really not involved in what's going on in Europe. Like, what's going to happen with Ukraine, with Russia, what, my biggest thing, what's Poland going to do? What is Poland going to do? Like, no one's watching Ukraine, Russia closer than Poland. What are they going to do? Right? Finland, Norway, right? Sweden, they're all watching that. They're like, what's going on? So, but you're right. That's the market, isn't it? You lose 5 trillion, get it back. You're right about that, bro. But I just don't think that there's a plan here. We got Brother Jack Black in the building. What's good, fam? Oh, no. Man, I'm glad you're here, but I'm sorry. My condolences, man. Losing family members are tough, bro. I'm good, man. I hope you good, man. We got Brother Tez in the building. What's good? And Brother Jack, I'm going to hit you up, man. I'm done here, bro. That's, condolences and everything. Hope all is well. I'm off. My spring break is here. So my daughter's out of school for the upcoming week. So I'm going to be out and about doing a bunch of stuff, trying to get some projects off the ground. So let's pull this up, man. Let me see if I can pull up this. Let's watch a little bit of this and see what's going on. Let's see what the real talking heads are saying, right? It's over for the stock market. Trump's planned crash explained. So a lot of people believe that this is a planned action. Like, they believe that, I guess, Donald Trump or his people planned this out. I don't think so. I think there are people behind Donald Trump that are pushing him in this direction, and they have the plan. I think that's what's going on, but I don't believe that this is Donald Trump's plan. I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I don't think the guy's that bright. We all know he's not well read. I don't think he has the patience to sit down and plan something out. I don't know what he's doing, but I think there are people behind him or people who are influencing him to get him to do certain things. And maybe he's doing 1 or 2 things over here, then he's doing something completely opposite, 3 or 4 things over there. And it could be that, or I could be completely wrong and he knows exactly what he's doing. I mean, it could be that. Trump must have Bitcoin. The Bitcoin people, the crypto folks were hoping that America was going to do a real, cryptocurrency reserve and dump trillions of dollars into Bitcoin, Ethereum, and whatever. I think it was 5 coins they were going to be doing that with, but America didn't do it that way. I guess what America did was basically they took all of the coin that they are holding. I'm referring to mostly Bitcoin, I guess, but probably Ethereum. And they got these through seizures and stuff like that. And what they're doing is just holding that, and that's the reserve. So I think the crypto millionaires were hoping that America was going to dump trillions into Bitcoin. And then, of course, those millionaires will become billionaires plus, but it didn't happen. America didn't dump a bunch of money in there. They just took the coin that they had and like, okay, this is now our strategic reserve. At least that's how I understand it. But yeah, so there's so many people trying to make so many plays. And one of the things I found so funny, I was talking to one of a big time Trump supporter, cool dude. God, I can't think of his name. I was on someone else's platform. He's like a F1 or some sort of, I forget his name. But I was saying, hey, if you got enough money, Trump would do whatever. All you got to do is pay him. The guy was like, Trump would never take money. He would never do that. You can't pay Trump. And then Trump announced here recently Like, yeah, for $1 million, you can sit down and have dinner with him, sit down at the table. What is it, for $5 million, you can have a one-on-one? Like, bro, the gangster in me has to just like give him his props for that. The gangster in me, like, damn, bro, like you're not even gonna hide it. Like, and here's the thing: all politicians do it. They all do it. Everyone, they do it. You get enough money, you can sit down with these people, bro. Okay, so you got to spend, $20,000, $25,000 on a fancy dinner, but you still gonna get to talk to whoever you want to talk to. I personally know people who got to holler at Barack Obama that way. I got to sit down, and well, I didn't get to sit down with him. But I was in the room and I got to shake his hand. I'm talking about Bill Clinton, right, through one of our organizations when I was in the FAA. Got to, Bill Clinton was there. So everyone does a little bit of pay for play, but I've never seen a president of the United States like, yeah, $1 million, come sit at the table, $5 million, you can holler at me personally. I've never seen that. And it was funny because I told old boy that like right after Trump got elected, and then, like a month and a half later, it comes out, like you can do this. And then it's that gold card thing, for $5 million, you could be a citizen. Bro, only $5 million? Man, we talking about U.S. citizenship here, bro. That should be it should be twice that. Come on, man. Like, come on, 5, 6, it should be like 10, 12 million. Come on now, what we doing here? 5 million. But that, that's just my take. You know what I mean? Brother Penny's like, if Canada becomes the 51st state, Republicans will win another election. It's basically like annexing another California. They would say they will never win another election. I see what you're saying. They will never win because Canada is deep blue. Yeah, the Canadians, man, they don't even think that shit's funny, bro. They don't think, they're like, that's like a hard line. They've all come together. All the Canadians are like, They don't like that at all, bro. So like this tariff war, bro, they all in. They are all in. They took all of America's alcohol off their shelves. All of American products. Is a big push to buy Canadian. Hey, we might get lucky, man. We might have some of our Canadian brothers jump on here, man. We might get Cody to jump on here, and we can ask him what it looked like up there. Cody is King's Canadian. So we might get some of our brothers to jump up here. But yeah, man, that Bitcoin thing, bro, like that's another thing. If Trump and Musk were making a Bitcoin play, it really didn't help them. It really didn't. And Brother Pitney, you're right, man. The stock market has been overvalued, just like the housing market. Like, dude, this is what I meant when I said it didn't matter who the president was. It was going to be a problem, and it's gonna be a problem. And that's where we got to the end of the road. Everyone's been kicking the can down the road. There's no more road. It's just a brick wall, right? And this was going to happen. The thing is, how are they going to control it? That debt wall is out there, bro. I understand why business wants deregulation and they want lower interest rates, because it's right billions and billions and billions of money out there that's going to have to be refinanced. There's going to be a lot of companies that go out of business. They're going to walk away from a lot of loans, and these regional banks that are holding the paper, these regional banks, like, bro, they're going to go out of business, man. Like, these banks are going to go under, and the government isn't going to bail them out because they can't. We're going to see what happens, man. We're going to see what happens. Like, didn't I hear about a UK guy whose ex-girlfriend took a rubbish bag with 6 million Bitcoin? No. On a hard drive to the trash dump. Rubbish is trash to Americans. Like, trying to translate from Brittany's into American. So little short, I heard a little bit something about that. I didn't get into the story though. So a woman, the ex-girlfriend took a trash bag with $600 million in Bitcoin hard drive in the bag. Then she threw it in the dump. And then 5 years later, he's trying to buy the trash dump so he could look for it. Wow. I didn't know about that, man. That's a crazy story, bro. That's why be careful, fellas. Be careful we out bring it to the crib, man. Be careful what you doing with. This dude took his hard drive. Let this girl get his hard drive with all this $600 million? Or is that pounds? Probably pounds. 600 million pounds or whatever in Bitcoin. She throws it in the trash dump. and he's got to go buy the whole trash dump so he can go sift through it and try to find that money. Man, that's crazy, bro. I'm gonna have to find that story. I'm gonna have to read that whole story, man. That is crazy. That is crazy. But let's listen to what old boy has to say about Trump's planned crash. Here we go.
The stock market is over, and you should get out before Trump triggers a full-blown recession. That's what the mainstream media want you to think. Headlines are screaming disaster, social media is in a frenzy, and everyone is asking the same question. Should I sell now before it gets worse? But there's more to this than meets the eye. If you followed me for a while, you know I'm a serious investor who's obsessed with the stock market. And since so many of you have started investing because of my videos, I feel a responsibility to give you my honest take on the situation. So before you panic, let's take a step back and look at the bigger picture together. Every market crash has a cause, and this one isn't random. There are three main triggers behind it, and all of them tie back to one man, Donald Trump. Now, before anyone jumps to conclusions, this isn't about politics. I'm not here to take sides, and as a British investor looking in, my only concern is how this impacts investors like you and me. So let's break down the three.
All right, so I'm not a huge investor. All I have is, basically my 401k. I didn't really get into the markets like that. I did other things. So, but I definitely want to hear this dude out. I do know I've seen his channel before. I've watched some of his content. And like I said, I've seen him on, man, I want to say he was on Fresh and Fit. I think he was on Ben Maller. Like I said, Chris Williams, and I think like I've seen him on a few other like really big podcasters platforms. And this dude seems to be, level-headed, just, keeping it 100 with you, just trying to let you know this is how I done it. This is how you should do it or whatever. This is my system, whatever. I'm curious to hear what he has to say, man. Like, again, I think it's fair to call it Trump's market crash. I think it's fair to call it that because of how sudden things happen. And like I said, the majority of it is just the uncertainty, in particular around tariffs. So I think it's fair to say that this is Trump's crash. But again, I don't understand why. So let's see, maybe we can get some clarification here.
Biggest triggers behind this crash, why they matter, and what you can do to benefit from all this mayhem. Trigger one is Trump's trade war. Trump has always pitched himself as the ultimate deal maker. He's the guy who fights for American jobs and plays hardball with other countries. But the trade wars he's fighting could increase your weekly shopping bill and cause a recession. The last time the US tried this, it helped trigger the Great Depression, wiping out jobs and wrecking the economy. Now, history.
He ain't lying about that, bro. I've definitely been reading a little bit and watching a bunch of documentaries on the Great Depression and what was going on then. Bro, not good. Just not good. And just thinking that tariffs were a good idea and the fact that the government shouldn't get involved, those two things really hurt Americans then. There was no safety net, right? Of course, now there is, but that net is under attack. So, yeah, I mean, when you look at it, yes, he's 100% right. Trump was on the campaign trail telling anyone who would listen that tariffs are a good thing, that foreigners are paid a tariff, and Americans will get rich because we have these tariffs on goods and services and whatnot. When the truth is, no, a tariff is just a tax on the consumer, and Americans are going to pay that. Why? Because the companies, the individuals who bring in the goods, they get hit with that tariff. So it's not like if I'm buying a bunch of Chinese goods that China is going to pay an extra 25% just to sell me the products I want. No, it's just I got to pay that 25% or whatever it is. And once I do, I got to get that money back, right? That affects the cost. I'm going to pass that along to everyone out there in the market. That's the first thing. Second thing, when you look at something like this, when you look at the tariffs, let's say that, my competitor is bringing oranges in from some other country and they got to pay a 25% tariff, but I'm growing oranges right here in America. Right? What does that mean for me? That means that I can, if I want, raise my prices 20% because my competitors have raised their prices 25% to cover the tariff, right? We're just using basic numbers, right? I'm still 5% cheaper. I still got the cheapest oranges in town. You still gonna come holler at me. My product is still cheaper than the competition's, right? And you can say you buying at home. So I'm like, yeah, you know. And when you ask me, like, well, hold on, man, why did you raise your rates 20%? None of this affects you. It's like, well, the market is what the market is. These things are 20, and the oranges are 25% more, right? Some people are selling them 28, 30% more. I'm able to sell them to you for just a 20% increase. I'm looking out for you. I'm looking out for the little man. At the end of the day, it's just greed. So a tariff is absolutely a tax.
Might be repeating itself. Stocks are already crashing. Prices are rising. And if this spirals, it won't just hurt Wall Street, it'll hit you where it matters most, your bank account. Let me take you back to 1930, when I was just a boy. The US government decided to slap massive taxes called tariffs on imported goods to protect American businesses from foreign competition. It was called the Smoot-Hawley Tariff Act, and it turned out to be one of the worst economic mistakes in history. At first, it seemed like it would help. American companies wouldn't have to compete with cheap imports and more products would be made in the USA. But there was a big problem. Other countries fought back. Nations that used to trade with the US started raising their own tariffs, making it harder for American businesses to sell products overseas. Trade slowed to an absolute crawl. Businesses collapsed and millions lost their jobs.
Right? Millions lost their jobs, and this led to the conditions that brought us to World War II, because Germany got hit hard. Germany was already hurting after World War I, dealing with that, having to pay back. Germany was left holding the bag for World War I, right? So trade slowed because of this trade deal. Is basically a trade war. Businesses collapsed, millions unemployed all around the world. Great Depression hits America, and then it just affected every other market. I keep telling people all the time, like, no, something happens to America. If America catches a cold, the rest of the world catches a flu. Like, everyone is tied into the dollar. And back then, they really tied into the dollar that much. You know what I mean? But look what happened. And that led to the rise of Corporal Adolf. And y'all know how that story turned out. But it's trade. Trade did this. When people can't work, when people can't make money, when people can't afford to take care or feed their children or whatever, man, it's a problem. And when you start a trade war, bro, like, I'm going to put a 200% tariff on all wine and cognac, all liquors coming out of Europe. Are you a fool? All of Europe is going to put the same tariff, if not more, on American products. And they're going to do what the Canadians did, take all their American products off the shelf. Right? Who's the first people to feel the effects of this Canadian tariff war? The people in a bluegrass state, all of our Kentuckians, our brothers and sisters up there, right? All that bourbon, they can't sell. It is tearing them up, bro. And it's not even, like, again, I don't even think the tariffs are official yet. Like, we're just talking about it. I don't think it really hit yet. I could be wrong. I think they were supposed to start tomorrow. I think the first official tariffs are supposed to start tomorrow. And then April 1st is going to be the other 25% tariff that was talked about. It's so confusing, bro. And this is the uncertainty that has caused the market to do what it did.
Instead of fixing the economy, it helped turn a regular recession into the Great Depression, one of the worst financial crises ever. Fast forward nearly a century, and Trump has brought back tariffs in a big way. In February 2025, Trump announced a 10% tariff on Canadian energy imports and a 25% tariff on other Canadian goods. In retaliation, Canada imposed a 25% tariff on American imports. Then in March, Ontario implemented a 25% surcharge on electricity exports to the US, affecting states like New York, Michigan, and Minnesota. However, in my opinion, this was more of a symbolic move that wouldn't have seriously damaged the US economy. However, Trump didn't hold back, and instead of just brushing it off, he fired back by increasing tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminium to 50%.
See what I mean? Aluminum and dairy. So Trump starts a war trying to get big on people, And he's shocked that they got big right back. And make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about this, guys. This trade war is going to hurt Canada way more than it hurts America, but it's completely unnecessary. That's the problem. This is where I sit with it. This makes no sense. It's completely unnecessary. Why are we doing this? That's my thing. And that's Wall Street. That's people with the money. Like, hold on, bro. What are they going to do next? Let's sit back and wait. Completely unnecessary.
Like Canada's move, this wasn't just for show. It hit Canada's manufacturing industry hard while also driving up steel prices for American businesses that rely on imports. But why am I telling you all this? Well, this is where the real problem starts. Tariffs sound good on paper, as they're meant to punish foreign businesses while encouraging more stuff to be made in America. But in reality, they end up hurting regular people more than anyone else. As a business owner who manufactures products and imports from China myself, I know that when businesses are forced to pay more for materials, they don't just absorb the cost, they pass it on to their customers. That means higher prices on cars, appliances, and electronics. In addition,
which is exactly what we were just talking about. It makes sense. It makes sense. And even the people who aren't importing the same goods, they're going to charge more. I guess in theory, it would make sense like, well, there's a tariff. So the people who are making the stuff here in America, they make it cheaper. They're going to sell it for way less than the people importing it. The importers got to pass on this 25% tariff, where the Americans, making it here, they could keep selling it what they've been selling it for, and it's the cheapest price in town. Right. But the market adjusts. So they're like, you got a person who's like, look, I can make minimum 15, 20% more and still be cheaper than my competitor. And the poor customer, right, the American, the consumer, is stuck in the middle. It's like, yo, right? It's just, in theory, it sounds right, but the market went up 25% because of the tariff. But I can sell my stuff at 15% more or 20% more and pocket the difference. And there's nothing no one can do about it. That's what it boils down to, bro.
in addition to this, food becomes more expensive because supply chains get disrupted, meaning that everyday essentials cost more, stretching household budgets even further. On top of that, other countries aren't just sitting around while Trump raises tariffs. They're forming new alliances to trade without the US. China is leading the charge with the BRICS alliance, partnering with Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa to reduce dependence on American trade. So,
that BRICS thing, bro, I don't take BRICS serious. I ain't gonna lie. Maybe I'm wrong for that. I don't. Brazil is jacked up. Russia's at war, although they're selling a lot of energy, right? But Russia, the world really ain't rocking with Putin like that, but he got cheap oil, so they're going to take it. India and China are at each other's throats. They've been tit for tat in the Himalayas for a long time now. So India and China could wind up in a shooting war, right? South Africa can't keep the lights on all day long. They got rolling blackouts and all kind of stuff. So I'm not worried about BRICS. However, there are other countries that are thinking about joining their alliance. But it's just one of those things. But everyone's tied into the dollar right now. So even if people want to go to BRICS, which one of those currencies is going to take over and run the world? Is it going to be the ruble? Right? It's going to be China with the Chinese yuan or whatever. Like what currency are they going to use? Right? And what country is going to have the faith? The one thing that America has, the U.S. dollar, is people believe in America. Hopefully people will still believe in America when this is over. I think people are going to pin all this on Donald Trump. And it's like, it's not America per se, it's just Trump. Like this dude is wild. But we'll see. And Brother Pitney's like, yeah, you got a point there. Yeah, the oranges also means that the industries that were on the brink of collapse now have a fighting chance. I hear you. But isn't there another way to do that? Right? You can use subsidies to help some of these countries. We should be manufacturing here in America. See, again, I'm with it. But it has to be done the correct way. America should not be totally relying on any other country to get stuff done. Right? America, that we don't produce, like when we had the pandemic, there was medical supplies that we couldn't get because we didn't make the stuff here. We had to rely on someone else. Like, you like the chips and all that for, technology and our weapons. We got to work, we're relying on Taiwan. So there are things like America should always be producing. Always. It just, I'm with you, bro, but this is not the way.
To reduce dependence on American trade. So the more the US isolates itself, the more other countries look elsewhere for business. So what's my opinion on all of this as an experienced investor? Well, if Trump goes all in on this trade war, history suggests it'll do more harm than good.
Facts.
While some industries might get a short-term boost, the long-term damage, such as higher prices, weaker global ties, and a slowing US economy, could far outweigh any benefits. But if I'm being completely honest, I don't think Trump actually wants high tariffs. I know that sounds crazy, but hear me out. Trump is, at his core, a businessman and a deal maker, just like me.
What this dude isn't saying is Trump is a terrible businessman and a deal maker. And I had these conversations with my friends who are, big time Trumpers. They keep saying, this guy didn't say it. He didn't say that Trump is a successful businessman. He just said he's a big time businessman. He didn't say successful. You look at every business Trump had a hand in that he really ran, he ran them all into the ground. Look at what he's doing right now. He's running America into the ground. I expected this. I just didn't expect it at this level. Right? Never forget, y'all, he lost $500 million in today's money. He got it back. Hollywood put him back on as Hollywood, those Hollywood producers thought they were being funny. We're going to put on this dude who's like basically a caricature of the 1%. He's like the worst elements, this failed business guy. And the only reason he's still around because basically it's his daddy's money, his family money. But with that, and I'm talking about The Apprentice, and with that, man, he got all that money back. He lost $500 million, he got it back. I got to respect that. And became president behind it. And he's doing what he's doing now. So, yeah, Trump's a businessman, but he's not a savvy business guy. He's not a smart business dude, in my opinion. I don't think that Trump has a plan here. It's just, he's firing from the hip. I think there are other people trying to push him in certain directions for different reasons. But, bro, what do I know? I could be wrong.
Me. That's why I believe he's using tariffs as a negotiation tactic, not as an end goal. So if that's true, what does he actually want? Well, I think he's after free global trade, but on terms that favour the US. And if he pulls that off, it could pay off big time. However, the problem is his approach is creating massive uncertainty. The constant backtracking, new tariffs and mixed signals are spooking the stock market because investors hate unpredictability. If this drags on too long, it could shake confidence so much that it pushes the economy towards recession, something even Trump's own administration has admitted they're willing to risk. Right now, the market isn't just reacting to tariffs, it's reacting to uncertainty about what comes next. And in investing, uncertainty is one of the biggest killers of confidence.
Yeah, they look into other markets. You know what I mean? That's what's up. I'm gonna pin in the description below. I'm gonna pin that video so you guys can watch the rest of the video. That's what's up, man. Shout out to dude, man. Do I have a let me see if I can find my Don DeMarco button. There it is. Don DeMarco. Shout out to him, man. Check out the rest of that video. I'm gonna watch the rest of that video here a little bit too. But Trump, I believe I was okay. Let me find my words. Give me a second. Let me find my words. All right. I believe that America was headed for a recession regardless of who the president was, whether Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. I believe that America was headed that way. Now, how hard that recession was going to be, how difficult, how extreme, I didn't know. But looking at what Trump is doing now, this is going to be a rough recession, and it might be a light depression, in my opinion. And this is just me from watching all this other stuff and looking at videos and doing some reading and talking to some people with money. It's like, bro, America is cut taxes. We have destroyed the social safety net, and they're continuing trying to, like with Social Security, trying to destroy that, with unemployment benefits and with, housing assistance and child care assistance and all that. Doge, you're trying to do away with all that. Right? The money that they are finding in Doge, even though it doesn't line up with the amount of savings they say that they have, but they are finding some savings. That money isn't going to fund other things. In fact, they've raised the debt ceiling. Right? They're going to continue to try to raise the debt ceiling. So you got all this stuff. We're still deficit spending. We're taking in less money, right? And we're accelerating the recession. Like, look at what's going on with housing right now. Yeah, all those people that got fired, making hundreds of thousands of dollars, on average $104,000 a year. These people got fired, right? We all know that Americans live paycheck to paycheck. Of the people who got fired, how many of them you think could go 6 months to a year without having some financial difficulty, without using credit cards? I'm here to say less than 10%, probably less than 5% of them. Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So you wake up and it's like you're fired. You got like a paycheck, maybe a paycheck and a half, and that's it. So immediately people were trying to figure out what they're going to do. They were throwing their houses on the market. They were giving these discounts, right? So you look at the American housing sector and what's going on there. It's like, yo, this is crazy. This is going to, people aren't spending, right? America has record credit, record credit card debt right now. Defaults are up, right? Car loans, defaults are up, right? People can't even qualify for homes. The banks aren't lending money. You see what's going on? I think all this was going to happen regardless. But what Trump did is like, bro, he just threw gas on that, bro. Like it's like, what the hell? Like, what the hell? I didn't set this up, guys. I'm just typing in some stuff real quick, but I think that, and everything in America, man, is based on feelings. I believe that people believe the worst is happening right now, and they're gonna contract and spending. They're gonna try to figure out how to save their money. There's people probably looking at bankruptcies. They're like, look, I'm not even gonna pay them bills. Again, you lost your job, like you're always making $100,000 a year. I just got fired. I'm gonna go out here. It's in this job market, but it's extremely difficult to replace that job. Like, it's hard. So you're gonna wind up going out here working for Target or Walmart or working at the restaurants or, trying to do them both, work 2 jobs and drive Uber. You're still gonna fall short of that $100 and some thousand a year. So this is what I mean. I think this might become more than just a recession. I think this might become a little bit of a depression here. If we continue down this path, I have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow, guys. No idea what's going to happen on Monday. Yeah, and I hear you. Like he's trying to use. Here's the problem with using tariffs as leverage or as a negotiating tactic. The people on the other side of the table, they know that's what you're doing, right? So when Trump fires back and they respond, they ain't playing. The Canadians have taken American products off the shelves, right? The Canadians ain't playing. The Mexicans ain't playing. China ain't playing. The EU ain't playing. Trump is sitting there. You're going to saber rattle, and people know, like, man, he just talking crazy anyway. And again, and all of the uncertainty is just the people with money like, yo, this is crazy. This is crazy, right? So what's going to be the Black Swan event? Right now, we're just kind of barely making it. We're barely above water. Something's going to happen. What's going to be the challenge to this administration? What's going to be the Black Swan event? Whatever it is, when it hits, my fear is that's going to be it. And especially if they continue to cut benefits. Right? And the people who are hurting are the people who need the most help. So, bro, like, this is going to be crazy. Like, he is trying to use it as leverage, man, but it's not that I don't think it's working. It's not working. And you're right. I get you. It's like, remember you used tariffs to make Mexico and Canada, get the fent influx under control, which did not work. It was one of those things. In his first administration, he was saying these things like, put this information out there, and it seemed to work. But go back and look at the numbers, bro. Yeah, it's a ton of people crossing the borders, a ton of, and most of the illegal drugs come in through the ports anyway. But it's all smoke and mirrors. That's my thing, bro. And see that the money that those were found will ultimately be removed from federal balance sheets. George Gamble did a great video about it. Overall, what Doge is doing won't significantly increase inflation. But when you look at that, and I like George Gamble, right? I listen to George Gamble, right? The thing is, let's say the courts were backing Donald Trump and Doge and allowing these, not challenging at all these firings. Let's just say that were the case. Because, it's out there now, judges are saying a bunch of stuff, like judges are pushing back against Trump administration and Doge. But let's say that they allowed 50% of the firings to go through. Let me put it a different way. Some say that Doge would like to remove 70% of the current government workforce. They want to fire 70%, right? And when you add in the U.S. Postal Service, you're looking at 3 million people, right? 3 million people total, and they're talking about they want to remove 70%. But let's say that they just get half. They just fire 50%. 50%, right? 1.5 million jobs gone. And again, that average is a $100,000 job on average. That's going to negatively affect the economy. That is going to be a shock to the market because 50%, those people all own homes. They all have unsecured credit. They all have cars. They're six figures. Remember, everybody thinks 6 figures, I'm rich. So they out here living like they rich, but we know the truth is you ain't really rich. 6 figures, $100,000, that's not rich anymore. That's nowhere near rich. You need 3 times that. So that would be a shock to the market, and that shock will mess things up. That shock may get inflation to continue to climb because they're going to max out all their credit, and then there's going to be bankruptcies, and then there's going to be short sales. There's going to be all people walking away from their homes, people not paying their bills, chaos. At least that's my take on it. Right? That's just my take on it. So, but in theory, what Doge is doing, again, I'm with that. Let's go through there. Let's find out where's, way too many redundancies. Let's find out where we can remove. And the way to do it, like if you're going to go in, the first thing I think they should have done is just a hiring freeze. You come in, okay, we're going to announce a hiring freeze. We're not hiring anybody. You set a date. After this date, you could have set the date like, okay, April 15th. After April 15th, if we're not hiring anybody. If you're in, you're in. If you're not, you're not. And then you go through and start eliminating positions, and then you give that person an opportunity, like, hey, we're going to eliminate your position. However, we do have some openings over here in this department over there or that department over there, and the pay is similar. It might be a little less. It might be a little more. You can apply. We think you'll be a good fit, right? So you just start moving people around. And you're slowly getting rid of the fat, and you're finding all the extra money or whatever. They ain't do that. We're just going to fire everybody. And that is a problem. That is a problem. That in the tariffs, that's insane. Like, man, oh man, that's my take on it. You know what I mean? Trying to find, you know what? There's a, Econo fan. I don't know if you guys watch that. If you guys check out Econo Fan, I know I like to watch Econo Fan. Let me see. There's been some. I'm just bear with me, guys. I'm just kind of going through here. Econo Fan for about a month now has been talking about panic selling. Stuff like that. Here's one. Inventory explodes. But before we get into that, let's look CNBC talks about this stuff too. And let's pull up this real quick. Just kind of listen to what they're talking about on CNBC. And again, I apologize for not being organized like I'm normally organized. I have stuff all set up, ready to go. But this was, again, remember, this is just a test. I wanted to see if everything is working. I just wanted to see if we can get it going. So, and the answer to that is, yeah, it's working. So, let's pull this up, guys. There's just 2 more videos, and then we'll talk about. After this, we'll talk about the WNBA, which I think is hilarious. We'll talk about the WNBA a little bit, and then we'll wrap this up, and then I'll get back to planning out some good shows. But this is CNBC Fast Money Traders Talk Tariff, Uncertainty, and Market Sell-Off. This is not that old. I think this is a couple months old. Let's open up the thing. This is 10 days old. I said a couple months. Well, I was way off. This is 10 days old. This is just stock market people talking about it. Let's listen in.
Thought that little bit of relief would have given the markets a little bit of relief. We didn't really see that today.
Saw it yesterday. I mean, or saw it when you saw it or 2 days ago in the form of General Motors, and you saw that bounce when they rolled it back to April, I guess. But, diminishing marginal returns. And I do think they're trying to sort of walk this dance between making sure the market hangs in there and talking tough on tariffs. And that's a difficult dance or difficult tightrope to navigate, but that's the one they're trying to do. With that said, the October low, October 31st, I think, was 5,700-ish, and we're right there. Critical support levels, a lot of technical damage being done in the meantime. And again, a VIX at basically 24 and change for a prolonged period of time is something we've been talking about. VIX is going to stay elevated, and I think that's why you're going to continue to see these wild swings.
We were like 28 on the VIX. We were 40-ish back over the summer. We had a huge pullback.
Yeah, and I think I agree. When you see that sort of spike in the VIX, it's probably getting near a time where the sell-off is getting a bit overdone, and we see bounces here. I think the volatility that we've seen in this range that Guy just talked about, between like 5,850 and 5,700, it's a tough level here, just technically. I'll just say this, though, as the silver lining guy on the desk here.
Yeah, of course. Everybody knows that.
You just think of like the hardest hit names in this sell-off. I mean, they're getting a little oversold. They're getting today felt very panicky. Let's be very clear. But the S&P is only down 2.5%. And so when you think about the internals of the broad market, that's probably a pretty good thing. You're going to take a lot of the froth out. You're going to get valuations back to levels where we think they're kind of appropriate. I know there was a lot of talk just 2 weeks ago. The S&P trading 24 times forward earnings. A lot of that is front-end loaded to some of those biggest names. So again, some of the damage that's being done in the growthiest sorts of names, I actually think it's pretty decent setup if you're thinking about the S&P that's now off 6.5% from those recent highs.
So I'm in the difficult position of agreeing with Dan, who's just the ray of.
These are the money people. These are the money people. They're looking at this like, what's going on, man? It was so many conversations like this on CNBC. Even Fox Business is doing their best to show a positive side to all this, but you can tell they're worried. And some of the talking heads on Fox Business is like, hey, man, this tariff thing is a bad idea. It's just, one domino hits the next domino, hits the next domino, and at some point, bro, it's out of control. Like, it's just out of control.
Sunshine here. I mean, the VIX was up, closed up almost 3, so just under 25. It's not in the panic. I don't think it's super panicky, but it's definitely, as I said, things trading down in integers at a time. I find that interesting. I did a little bit of buying today. I covered some KRE that I was short against the long money centers, but it didn't do a lot else. But I do think that, the names that were supercharged are just getting annihilated, but still it doesn't take them to reasonable valuations, right? So, I think there's probably some room there, but it's not a monolith. There are things that are, I think, attractive. I actually think, we'll get to later, but discretionary, some of the retailers, I think, have really gotten
It's the.
You look at this, man, and like, bro, these folks, like these folks, bro, they know what they're doing. What they don't want to do is scare everyone. Right? They don't want to come out, turn the cameras off, and I guarantee you they're all like, man, this is effed up, man. What are they doing? Like, what is going on? Right? When Trump came out and said, I don't watch the stock market, I'm like, come on, we all know that's a lie. That's all he talks about is the stock market. Donald Trump believes the stock market is the economy. He's always believed that. right? So when he came out and said he doesn't watch the stock market, I'm like, all right, something ain't right. We know that ain't true. So, I mean, I could be right. This could be a plan. Maybe this is what they plan to do. Who was they? I don't know. Whoever his inner circle is. But I got to believe that this is just firing from the hip. So this last video I want to show, then we're going to move on to something else real quick. Econofin, top 5 home builders panic, slashing prices 20%. Signal housing collapse, worst in 2008. You see a lot of this, man. There's a lot of this out here. They're talking about this pending collapse. Now, again, it depends on where you live in America, right? Some markets are worse than others. But, bro, like here in Tampa, everything they're talking about, I'm seeing. Like, it's crazy. Now, it's not just what's going on with the tariffs and all that, and this new administration. It's the fallout from the storms down here in Florida. Like, insurance is devastating people. Insurance companies are not paying out. They're paying out portions. It's a mess down here. And, there's not a lot of help coming from the state because the state was courting insurance companies to come down here in the first place. Because, again, like Ron DeSantis is doing what he can, but it's not Ron DeSantis' fault. He didn't create this problem. He inherited this problem. Every governor before him had this problem going back to the 90s. So it is what it is. But let's check this out.
Doors should. What home builder executives are saying behind closed doors should terrify every homeowner, potential buyer, and real estate investor in the country. The American housing market is standing on the precipice of disaster, and industry insiders are finally sounding the alarm. Welcome to today's deep dive analysis. We're going to walk you through exactly why the nation's largest home builders are implementing dramatic price cuts of up to 18% across their new home inventory, and why this correction could potentially be more devastating than what we experienced in 2008. Let's start with the cold, hard facts. According to the most recent data from the National Association of Realtors, housing inventory has surged by 23.7% year over year, while actual closed sales have dropped by 17.4%. This fundamental imbalance between supply and demand is creating dangerous market conditions. The S&P Case-Shiller U.S. National Home Price Index shows home prices have increased over 57% since 2019. This means homes have appreciated at 3 times the historical average rate in just a few years, creating an unsustainable bubble. Mortgage rates have more than doubled since 2021, with the average 30-year fixed-rate mortgage now hovering around 6.7%, pricing.
Damn, 6.7%. For a house, the average cost of a home here in America is about $400,000. Yo, and that interest rate is going up. This is an older video, right? Why is this important? The vast majority of America's wealth is in their home. That's it. The people, the 1%ers, the top 15%, top 20%, they have money, they have investments, they got cash, they got precious metals, right? They're doing their thing. But everybody else, man, the people who have a little bit, they used to be the middle class, which I argue doesn't exist anymore. The people who got a little bit, that little bit is their home. And over the past, since the run up, they're looking at it like, man, I got all this bread, I'm worth all this money. Like, bro, if all your wealth is tied to that property and that property drops, you got a problem. And all this uncertainty and these people losing their jobs and these folks putting their houses on the market, forcing inventory up, right? And then you got people who can't even afford to get into a house and they want to. One little hiccup on your credit, you ain't getting it. So many houses are falling out of escrow these days. Bro, this is going to be ugly.
Millions of potential buyers out of the market entirely. The Mortgage Bankers Association reports mortgage applications are down 28% from this time last year. The affordability crisis has reached a breaking point. The average American household now needs to spend 41.4% of their income to afford the median-priced home, far above the recommended 30% threshold for housing costs. So, what's driving America's largest home builders to slash prices and offer unprecedented incentives? Let's look at the hard evidence from the industry's biggest players. Pulte Group, America's third largest home builder, has implemented the most aggressive strategy, cutting prices by a staggering 12 to 18% across multiple markets, with the deepest reductions in western states like Arizona, Nevada, and Colorado. They're also offering mortgage rate buydowns of up to 1.5 percentage points and up to $15,000 in closing cost assistance. Their recent quarterly results revealed the desperation. New orders down 21%, a cancellation rate of 19.4%, and average sales prices already falling 4.8%, despite these being early days in the correction.
Hey, bro, this is crazy. We got Sister Jody in the building. What's good, sis? Good to see you. This is a problem. And this is, I've been talking about this to my homies and the people in my circle for years. I'm like, bro, something's got to give. Something's got to give. The average home in America is over $400,000. Let's say $400,000, right? Let's just use that number. The average household income is like $75,000 in America. I mean, I ain't the smartest dude, but even I know that math don't math. So, and then people who have their homes, they can't sell them because they can't afford to get something else. Interest rates are too high. They can't afford. I mean, it's like you sell your house, you better be downsizing into a condo or something like that because you're not going to, or a townhouse, but you're not going to be able to get into a bigger house because you're not going to be able to afford $700,000 at, 7.2%. When you're sitting in your $400,000 home at 2.75%. So everyone was like, "No, it's never going to change." It's going to change, right? And then this whole thing back to the office, this back to work thing. So you got all the people who were remote and going to places like Florida, going to places like, Georgia, the Carolinas, going to Mississippi, just going to lower cost living places. Hey, bro, they got to get out of them houses and go back to the city. So it's like, well, you'll just rent them out. Rents are down, bro. Like people are struggling to find renters. Rents are down. Like you're not going to be able to, you got to take a loss on that. Like if you're, let's say your mortgage is $2,000 just to keep the math simple, right? It's like, well, you ain't going to be able to get that because people are renting. You're comparable to what you are offering for $200, $300 less a month. Or you can go right downtown to the high rises and they're basically giving you, 2-3 months of free rent. Right? So they're giving you like $6,000 off. That's what's going on right now. It's getting there. And this is just the beginning. There's a lot of people who are seeing it like, we better do something about this.
D.R. Horton, the nation's largest home builder by volume, has slashed prices between 9 to 17%, with their most recent significant reductions in once hot markets like Texas, Florida, and Arizona. They're offering up to $20,000 in closing costs and options incentives, plus aggressive 2-to-1 mortgage rate buydowns to attract increasingly hesitant buyers. Their focus on entry-level and first-time home buyers makes them particularly vulnerable to interest rate shocks. Their recent quarterly results show new orders down 18%, an alarming cancellation rate of 21.6%, and average sale prices already declining 3.2%. KB Home has implemented price cuts of 10 to 15% across their western and southern markets, with particularly deep reductions in California and Texas communities. They're offering substantial incentives, including free upgrades, solar panel incentives, and closing cost assistance up to $22,000. Their quarterly results are perhaps the most concerning among major builders. New orders down a devastating 24%, cancellation rates at 23.5%, nearly 1 in 4 buyers backing out, and average sale prices falling 5.1%, the largest decline.
Damn. God damn. This is... So where I live in my neighborhood, I don't know the name of the builder, but there's a builder who is developing a piece of land like between where we live and my daughter's high school. Good neighborhood. It's like they're right next to some really nice homes, diagonal from a nice apartment complex, and then across the street from townhome development, which are, privately owned. And they're building townhomes, it looks like, and they might be building some single family homes. This land has been sitting there for 2 or 3 years. And now the developer, I guess, finally got the money to go and develop this thing. But here's the deal. The townhomes directly across the street, the older townhomes, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, were selling for about $300,000. You're looking at 3 bedrooms, 2.5 bath townhomes. They're going for about $300,000, 325 somewhere in there. Because I was looking, I was like, oh, maybe we'll buy one of these. They're older. They didn't look that good. I can't remember the exact date, but they're like at least 10 years old, maybe a little older than that. Older property, nothing in the way of amenities. They're just nothing, basic, right? What are they going to be able to sell these new townhomes for, right? Because in a market where people are ducking out, so they're going to wind up with these these townhomes, and they're probably going to wind up just trying to just rent them out. They're probably going to be stuck, right? And they put these things up like so fast. Like every day I go to pick up my daughter and I'm sitting there, I get to see them working on it. And man, these things are going up so fast, right? It slowed down a little bit when Trump went in office because of the push for illegal immigration. I did notice there was a slight slowdown. Like the dudes you normally saw on the site working weren't there. I know it is what it is. You're right. It is what it is. People are going to be looking for every advantage. You get that cheap labor, you're going to get it. But folks didn't come to work. So they got these properties, man. They building this brand new home. So if someone in one of the older property wants to sell that townhouse, and they're like, okay, I'll sell it for $275. The owner of the brand new property across the street are probably selling a brand new, never lived in unit, same square footage and all that, brand new for $275 plus incentives. So now when people are gonna be sitting here like, I got to sell this property, it's a race to the bottom. So, and the market is now flooded with inventory. Like it's crazy. Like where I live, right? It was like you could hardly see any for sale signs. Now, everywhere, like everywhere, people are trying to get out of these properties. And I think the people who are selling now are people like, I got to go back to the office, so we're going to sell this house. Maybe they're going to try to rent it out. I don't know. And Brother Penny's like, yeah, he's like, Horton makes trash houses. That's crazy. Look up YouTube videos showing their poor craftsmanship. They've been in hot water for some time. Ooh, that's going to hurt them, bro. That's going to hurt them, which means not only they ain't going to be able to sell their product, but their product is trash. So they're going to have to sell way lower than everybody else. I'm going to have to find the videos. Thanks for that, bro. Let's continue.
Line among major builders. Lennar, the second largest U.S. home builder, has cut prices by 8 to 12% nationwide, with deeper reductions in rapidly cooling markets like Boise and Salt Lake City. They're offering mortgage rate buydowns to the 4% range and design center credits up to $30,000 through their Everything's Included packages. Their quarterly results show new orders down 12%, cancellations at 16.8%, and average sale prices declining 2.9%. Even Toll Brothers, which focuses on the luxury segment that is typically more insulated from market downturns, has reduced prices by 5 to 7% in their Northeast and West Coast communities. They're offering limited time rate locks at 5.99% and massive design studio credits up to $75,000 to move inventory. Their quarterly results, while less severe than other builders, still show warning signs. New orders down 9%, cancellations at 11.2%, and average sale prices starting to decline at 1.2%. Major home builders dramatically increased production in response to the pandemic housing shortage. New housing starts increased by 22% in 2021 and another 14% in 2022. This massive wave of new inventory is now hitting a market where buyer demand has cooled significantly. Census Bureau data shows there are currently 1.7 million housing units under construction, the highest level since the 70s. Meanwhile, cancellation rates for new home contracts have reached 21%, nearly double the historical average. The home builder industry faces a brutal reality. They've built too many homes for a market that can no longer afford them. The aggressive price cuts and incentives from Pulte Group, D.R. Horton, KB Home, Lennar, and even luxury builder Toll Brothers represent desperate attempts to move inventory that's sitting unsold. Please take 2 seconds to help me out and hit the
Those properties, man, they're not being sold. Man, they got a problem. And the bank is holding a paper on all these new builds, probably regional banks. They're not going to be able to sell these properties, bro. They're not going to be able to sell these properties. People aren't going to be buying. People are spooked. They're scared. Like I truly believe that the government is going to be forced to reinstate probably all, or at least a good majority of the people who were fired. So like, okay, they get to keep their money, but I think they're gonna be spooked. They're gonna be cutting down and paying back all of their unsecured credit and figuring and preparing to get fired. Because even if the courts come out and say, okay, Trump administration, you gotta hire these people back, I'm pretty sure there's gonna be some sort of appeal, and then they're gonna look at the reason as to why the firings weren't upheld, and it could be something as simple as the wrong department made the firing. I think OPM was the vessel they used to fire all these people. It came from OPM, right? Office of Personnel Management said that you're going to be fired. So maybe they'll just say, all right, well, we're going to send it down to the department head. So if you're with the FAA, you're going to get a letter from the FAA saying that you got fired. If you're with DOT, if you're with whoever, they're going to get the department head to do it because, you know, he has his administration there now. So they might end up getting reinstated and then let go again, which adds even more uncertainty. You see how it starts to snowball? It's crazy. And in the meantime, these people are trying to sell these houses in a market where inventory has just flooded the market. And the biggest thing is the interest rates are too high. People can't get approved. They don't have the money. They can't get approved to buy a place, even though they want it. And we haven't even talked about the hedge fund people and the big companies who were buying the single family homes. I think it's like somewhere between 800,000 homes, maybe a little over 1 million homes held by private equity. Well, they're not making any money. In fact, they're losing money because they have to do maintenance and court costs and deal with tenants paying for stuff. So what are they going to do? You see that here in Florida. I've seen properties 25 to 35% off the ask. And you go and you find out that, oh, that's from someone who owns, you know, that's a corporation or a private equity firm that owns this property, and they're just trying to get out of it. They're just trying to get out of it. The house has been sitting empty for, you know, year and a half because they can't get anybody in there to rent it because they need too much money in rent. Oh, we need $3,200 in rent. Like, bro, you can rent a house better than this for $2,500. So all this is happening at the same time.
Like and subscribe if you find this video interesting so far. Each like and subscribe helps support this channel, keeps us motivated to keep making you great content. Thank you. Now, let's continue. The Federal Reserve's aggressive campaign against inflation has fundamentally transformed the housing market landscape. When mortgage rates leap from 3% to nearly 7%, the math becomes devastating for buyers. Consider this example. On a $400,000 home with 20% down and 3% interest, the monthly payment equals $1,349. At 6.7% interest, that same monthly payment jumps to $2,066. That's a 53% increase in monthly costs. The same house became unaffordable to millions of Americans virtually overnight. The Mortgage Bankers Association estimates that for every 1% increase in mortgage rates, approximately.
So I'm trying to see this chart right here? Right? People talk about interest rates and, man, interest rates are getting high. Look at the 80s, bro. It was over 18% on a 30-year fix. Over 18%. That was Paul Volcker, bro. That's when I was growing up. That's when the growing up, and everyone was buying houses. Interest rates, right? Credit cards were like 25% interest. Some were even higher than that. Paul Volcker. And this is what Jerome Powell is vowed to do. He's like, bro, I'm not gonna go out and be the guy known for messing this up, letting inflation get out of control. He wants to fight it like Paul Volcker. Look how it's a lot of right. We're at like 7.5%, bro. This was like over 18% interest, bro. That was the Fed rate back in the 70s. So people keep saying it can't get any higher. I think it can, and I think it will. I think it'll get up to maybe 9.25. I really do, until that black swan event hits, whatever that is. The central bank understands one thing, man. They need to get the interest rates up. So when something happens, they can do their one and only trick, which is lower interest rates. They can't start lowering interest rates here. They'll be in negative interest rates in no time. But if they get it up to double digits, then they can start bringing it down. But what does that mean? It's going to be a lot of pain in the short term.
For every 1% increase in mortgage rates, approximately 2 million potential home buyers are eliminated from the market. For volume builders like D.R. Horton, which constructed over 81,000 homes in 2023, and Pulte Group, which built over 29,000, this sudden evaporation of qualified buyers has forced their hands on pricing. While unemployment remains historically low, we're seeing concerning trends in the labor market. Major tech companies have announced over 175,000 layoffs in the past year. The manufacturing sector has shed 48,000 jobs in the last quarter. Initial jobless claims have been trending upward for 6 consecutive months. More worrying is wage.
And keep in mind, guys, if these people who got fired under those do not get reinstated, we're looking at probably north of 300,000 people who lost their jobs. 75,000 of those took buyouts. Let's call it 100,000 took buyouts, that fork in the road thing. But still, you're looking at north of 200,000 jobs gone. And remember, they want to cut up to 70%. They're talking about, cutting well over 1 million jobs. And it's not like they're going to do it over 4 years. They're trying to get this done in the next 24 months. This is going to wreak havoc if it happens. Now, again, I think the courts are going to at least slow it down. But I don't know if the courts are going to be able to stop it completely, but at least slow it down. We'll see.
Growth, which has fallen from 5.9% to 4.2% year over year, while inflation has remained stubbornly above the Fed's 2% target. This means real wages, adjusted for inflation, have been falling for 24 consecutive months. When Americans' purchasing power declines while housing costs skyrocket, something has to give. The unprecedented scale of price reductions and incentives from all 5 major builders signals they can recognize this fundamental economic reality. Institutional investors were responsible for buying nearly 28% of all single-family homes in 2022, an all-time high. These corporate buyers drove prices higher by paying above asking price and purchasing with cash. Recent data from CoreLogic shows these same investors are now net sellers for the first time since 2016. In fact, institutional investors have reduced their housing portfolios by 14% in the past 6 months. When the smart money starts selling, everyday investors should pay very close attention.
Right? We're seeing it. The big money is getting out. The big money is getting out, guys. So this is going to hurt, bro. Like, this is going to hurt. And it's like George Gammon says, man, irregardless of these numbers, irregardless of the unemployment numbers, irregardless of how much people say they're making or whatever, it's about purchasing power, man. How much stuff can you buy? All right, how much stuff can you buy? I know people now, man, they're like worried over these eggs, bro. That's one of my jokes, bro. I said it on stage a couple weeks ago. I was like, shoot, man, times are tough, bro. I had to pawn a case of eggs, bro. Like, y'all laughing. I got $250 for them eggs. It's a joke because eggs cost so much money now. Right? So it's just one of those things, man. Like, how much stuff can we buy? You can't even go out and have a good time. I'm gonna go out and buy me a shot of cognac. Bro, like, the average drink here in Tampa has gone up to about $22, bro, over the past few months. I don't go out as much as I used to, but I still get out. And when you go to decent places, it's like, bro, these drink prices are getting up there. That's before the tariff. Just imagine what these drinks are going to cost, man. You probably go out, you want to get you a cognac. I was telling the dudes, like, man, y'all better get used to this bourbon. Like, y'all better get used. There's tons of that good old-fashioned Kentucky whiskey. Get you some bourbon. Get you some Jim Beam, some Jack Daniels or something like that, because that's all you're going to be able to afford.
Significant price cuts from Pulte Group, D.R. Horton, KB Home, Lennar, and Toll Brothers suggest they're seeing the same warning signs that are prompting institutional investors to exit the market. The 2008 crisis was fundamentally about subprime lending and financial leverage. This time, the crisis is brewing from a different source: fundamental affordability. In 2008, the average home price to median income ratio peaked at 4.7, meaning homes cost about 4.7 times the median household income. Today, the ratio stands at 6.3. Homes are substantially more expensive relative to incomes than during the peak of the last housing bubble. Household debt is also concerning. Total household debt has reached $17.29 trillion, with mortgage debt accounting for $12.1 trillion. The average American household now carries $103,358 in total debt, up 35% from pre-pandemic levels. While lending standards are stronger today than in 2008, the sheer weight of this debt, combined with rising interest rates, creates a precarious situation.
Bro, this is the thing. People aren't making more money. If you think about it, adjusting for inflation, like, people are pretty much making what they were making back in the 70s, a little bit less, to be honest with you. Right? But stuff costs way more money, bro. We were talking about, interest rates were, 18% and higher back in the 70s, but, you could buy a house for $40,000. Right? You could buy you a decent home for $50,000. $100,000 house was like reserved for like the elites. You know what I mean? That's the doctors and the lawyers and all them. The average house, man, 40, 50, 60 grand. In Cincinnati, where I grew up, and this was back in the 90s, man, there were houses, I could have bought buildings for $7,000 in the hood. So, yeah, if you're looking at financing $48,000, $55,000 over 30 years at 17%, you can afford it. You know what I mean? It's doable. But now, come on, bro. You're going to finance $375,000 at, 8.5%, 9% because you got bad credit. And that's the thing. Everyone's debt to income ratio is sky high. You got your mortgage, you got your home, but you got to pay for insurance. You got to fix your home when it messes up. You got to maintain your home, right? You got to get a car. You need insurance for that. The biggest thing is just auto and home insurance. People don't even have health insurance, so that's like another problem. But auto and home insurance, way up. You're barely in the home. You're thinking everything is good because everything is supposed to keep going up, and it doesn't. Now you're stuck. Now, if you have a home, you should be doing everything you can to keep it. I wouldn't be trying to walk away from it. Do everything you can to keep it. But there's some people who have to leave. Like, well, we bought this house thinking I can work remotely. Now they're telling me if I don't come back to the office at least 3 days a week, I'm fired. I got to move. I can't afford this house and an apartment, or I can't afford this house and another house where I work. So they got to figure it out. And a lot of people are rushing to sell their homes, and I ain't mad at them. Get as much money as you can. But it's the people who just bought in the past couple of years. Those are the folks who are going to be hurting the most. They bought at the top, right? And it looks like it's turning. It's crazy. I see you, Brother Tyrone. What's good, fam?
When America's top 5 home builders simultaneously slash prices by up to 18% and offer tens of thousands in incentives, they're acknowledging a simple mathematical reality. Home prices must fall to meet affordability constraints. Let's break down what these reductions would mean across the broader market. Pulte Group's 18% price cuts, if applied to the median home, would drop prices from $431,000 to approximately $353,000. Monthly payments on that median home would fall by about $450. Even Toll Brothers' more modest 7% reductions in the luxury segment signal trouble at all price points. These corrections are not just possible, according to industry actions, they're already happening, especially in the most overheated markets. When major builders like Pulte Group and D.R. Horton make such aggressive cuts, they're signaling to the entire market that the era of ever-increasing home prices is over. Not all housing markets will be impacted equally. Data from Moody's Analytics identifies these metro areas.
Before he says that, bro, let me throw out, I know Cincinnati, y'all know I'm from Cincinnati, but the Cincinnati, greater Cincinnati area, northern Kentucky area, I've seen some pretty good deals up there. on multifamilies. Now, I've been looking at multifamilies, but single families, I've seen some good deals. Duplexes, I've seen some good deals. In the greater Chicago area, Illinois, I've seen some good deals. I am the single one. You know, she's a realtor there. She's like showing me some good deals. But markets are changing. I know that Tennessee was a really good area, but I think Tennessee is starting to get kind of choppy. Let's see. I know Atlanta wasn't that great. I mean, it was certain places that were doing pretty good. You know, but I came from LA. Like LA was crazy. I mean, if you had the money, it was some deals out there, but you needed big money. I know Vegas is taking a hit. It always does. Probably Phoenix, Scottsdale, they're probably taking some hits. You know, you saw what happened in Texas. Things are turning. But, you know, there's some markets out there. I think Minneapolis, I think St. Paul got real expensive, so I don't know if there are any good deals up there anymore. But let's hear what they have to say, because there were some good metros out there.
As most vulnerable to significant price declines. Austin, Texas, with current overvaluation at 61%, Boise, Idaho at 58%, Phoenix, Arizona at 54%, Nashville, Tennessee 49%, and Tampa, Florida 48%. These markets saw the most dramatic pandemic price increases and have the most significant imbalances between local incomes and housing costs. It's no coincidence that PulteGroup's deepest price cuts are occurring in Western markets like Phoenix, where they've reduced new home prices by as much as 18% from their peaks. D.R. Horton is cutting aggressively in Texas and Florida. KB Home is slashing prices in California and Texas. The pattern of price cuts matches precisely with the markets Moody's identified as most overvalued.
Tampa was definitely one of the most overvalued areas in Florida. And, bro, you can see it. Go look it up, guys. Go check out whatever Redfin or Realtor.com, wherever you guys are using, man, you can see the correction hitting the Tampa area, like, for real. And the Florida condo market has been devastated. Helene and Milton absolutely devastated the Florida condo market. There were some new laws put in place about safety and stuff like that. And, like, South Florida, down in Dade County, like the Miami area, oh my goodness, the older condos, all kind of issues. The newer condos, money. So it's crazy. And who's buying newer condos? The people who have the bread. So they're not worried about any additional costs. But there have been assessments done because there's a new law. They'd have to have so much money. The HOAs have to have so much cash reserve, and they have to do all of these fixes. If they haven't been keeping up with it, they send in inspectors, and they got to make these corrections. So what happened is the HOA will make the fix, and they send out everyone's cut. Like, all right, this is how much it costs. We're going to break it down, and you guys got to pay this money. And they're called assessments, right? So, like, the assessment, the bill comes in. We're seeing assessments up here in Tampa, you know, $60,000 plus. Down in Miami, they were like $300,000 assessments. That's $300,000 to each unit. He's got these high rises, and they had to, like, fix the foundation or fix these cracks and do all this stuff. You've heard these horror stories. People are stuck in these properties, and they can't sell them because they got to settle that assessment first. And of course, that $600,000 is an exaggeration. You know, it's one of the highest. But on average, I think the assessments were coming in right at anywhere between $50,000 and $85,000. Who has an extra $85,000? Who has an extra $10,000 sitting around for the average American, right? The average American, their money was in their home. And if you can't access that money, you can't get a HELOC or you can't take a loan against it. You got to just come out your pocket with $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. You got a problem. Now, you got people in Miami buying these really luxurious condos. They're walking around with $50,000 bags. They're walking around with $100,000 timepiece. Of course they got it. But again, that's the upper crust. A lot of people are hurting. But we're going to finish this out, and then I'm going to wrap this up. We'll talk about some red pill stuff tomorrow, and we'll talk about the WNBA tomorrow.
If you're currently shopping for a home, this analysis suggests considerable caution is warranted. Purchasing now before a potential 20% correction could mean immediately losing tens of thousands in equity. Consider these strategic approaches. Extend your rental lease if possible. Renting for another 12 to 24 months could save you significant money if prices decline as predicted. If you must buy, negotiate aggressively. Sellers are losing leverage by the day. Data shows homes are now selling for an average of 3.8% below asking price, compared to 5.1% above asking price just 12 months ago. Consider new construction from builders implementing price cuts. Pulte Group, D.R. Horton, KB Home, Lennar, and Toll Brothers are all offering unprecedented incentives, including mortgage rate buydowns, massive closing cost assistance, and direct price reductions to move inventory. Focus on affordability metrics, not emotions. Don't exceed 28% of your gross income on housing costs, regardless of what lenders approve. If you already own your home, don't panic. Consider these steps. Refinance if possible. If you have an interest rate above 7%, explore refinancing options as rates have moderated slightly. Accelerate mortgage payments. Building equity faster provides protection against potential negative equity scenarios. Delay home equity loans or cash out refinances. Tapping equity now could be risky if prices decline significantly. Consider selling investment properties. If you own multiple properties, especially in vulnerable markets like those where Pulte Group, D.R. Horton, and KB Home are cutting prices most aggressively, now may be the best time to reduce exposure. Real estate investors should be extremely cautious in this environment. Cash flow is king. Only purchase properties that generate positive cash flow with conservative vacancy assumptions. Avoid speculation. The days of buying solely for appreciation are over for the foreseeable future. Target distressed opportunities. As the market corrects, distressed sales will increase, potentially creating buying opportunities. Consider alternative real estate investments. REITs, particularly those focused on recession-resistant sectors like medical facilities or data centers, may outperform direct property ownership. The combination of historic overvaluation, 57% price growth since 2019, interest rate shocks, rates more than doubling, declining affordability, 41.4% of income required for median home, supply surges, 1.7 million units under construction, institutional investors selling and slowing wage growth, and early job market warnings creates a perfect storm for housing prices to correct significantly. When all 5 major builders implement price cuts ranging from 5% to 18%, they're simply acknowledging the mathematical reality that the market can't sustain current price levels. History doesn't repeat, but it often rhymes. While the specifics differ from 2008, the current housing market displays many concerning parallels, primarily extreme overvaluation relative to fundamentals. The coming months will be critical. Watch for these key indicators. Housing inventory levels continue to rise, days on market increasing beyond 90 days. Mortgage delinquency rates ticking upward, and builder cancellation rates exceeding 25%. These would confirm the correction is accelerating. Remember, housing markets don't crash overnight. They deteriorate gradually, then suddenly. The aggressive price cuts from Pulte Group, D.R. Horton, KB Home, Lennar, and Toll Brothers suggest we're entering the suddenly phase after months of gradual deterioration. For most Americans, their home represents their largest asset. Taking protective action now, before the market potentially declines by 20% or more, could preserve significant wealth and financial security. Leave your
Yo, shout out to that brother right there. I'm going to pin that below. I'm gonna definitely pin that below so you guys can check that out. Econofin, they do good stuff. They do good stuff. We got brother Carlos in the building, man. What's good, fam? We got Sister Nicole as well. What's happening? What's happening, girl? Good to see you. Good to see y'all. I'm back. I am back. It took me a while to get everything sorted out, but we managed to get it all sorted out. And I'm definitely going to be talking about that American Airlines, what was it, 737 engine fire. They did that emergency landing, and I guess they made it to the gate, and the plane just burst, the engine burst into flames. Going to be talking about that. Not tonight, but probably tomorrow. So, yeah, guys, I'm gonna go crazy like back in the day. I'm going to be on at least once a day probably for the next couple of weeks. I've been fiending for this, y'all. I've been missing y'all. I've been missing y'all. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to definitely continue to talk about what's going on with the housing market. Like, if you own a house, you good, your job is secure, you just have to ride this out. You know, your house might lose 25, 35%. It doesn't matter. You're locked in under 3% or, like, you know, on your interest rate. You good. Don't overspend. Pay off your debt. Sit back and ride this out. If you just bought a home, maybe you bought a little bit more home than you can afford. And you work for the government, so you're not quite sure what your financial future looks like. You got a decision to make. You got a decision to make. You might want to get out of that house as best you can. You might want to figure something out. But if you're in an area where you're going to be, you bought a home, but you didn't buy more home that you can afford, you can actually afford the home. Even if you lost your job, you can get you a regular job somewhere and still afford that home, then sit tight. But whatever you do, right? Think it through. Think it through. It's the gravy train is over. We got an Ojo in the building. What's good? Told you we'll have one of our brothers from Canada check in, man. Good to see you, bro. I definitely the next time we talk about tariffs, I'm gonna be asking Ojo exactly what's going on. Because according to the news, bro, you can't find nothing American made up there, bro. And I ain't gonna lie to you, I ain't mad at him. And Brother Dino, you're right. The numbers do show that America does better under Democrats. However, if Joe Biden were president or Kamala Harris were president now for the next 4 years, we certainly would be in a recession anyway. I think we were just at the end of the road, bro. I don't believe there was a way around it. I think we were going to hit a recession. The only question was how bad the recession would be. Like I said, I didn't expect much from Trump, but I really didn't think that he would jump in. And instead of letting the car cruise down the hill towards the cliff or hitting the brakes, I didn't think he would step on the gas. That's what it seemed like he did. He stepped on the gas. But like it is what it is. Like Ojo, like he has a bit of fanaticism up there right now. So it'll pass. You know what I mean? It'll pass. I mean, I'm not mad, bro. If someone was talking crazy about my country, my culture, I would get big too. Like, come on, man. If the shoe was on the other foot and Canada was talking about annexing America, like, nah, we ain't having that shit. You know what I mean? I get rid of everything Canadian. They get rid of your maple syrup. I mean, we did that during 9/11. You know what I mean? When France was like, nah, there's no weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. And America was like, no more French fries. They're freedom fries and no crepes and all. They was all anti-France. And they were right. Like, they were like, bro, like, look, we ain't saying we won't fight, but we just letting you know that what y'all talking about ain't fair. You know, the French don't care. They'll send the Foreign Legion. They'll send legionnaires anywhere. You know, like I was in, when I was in the desert, and Desert Storm, I was talking to a couple legionnaires over there, man. They will send them boys anywhere. France doesn't care about the legionnaires. Well, let's put it this way. The legionnaires are there to fight, and France will send them off to fight wherever. So France, but you get my point. America wouldn't tolerate that stuff, that kind of nonsense. So I ain't mad. I'm not mad at our brothers up there and our sisters up there in Canada, because I'll be pushing back too. Y'all didn't start this thing, this whole tariff war, this trade war. Y'all didn't start it. It is what it is, and it doesn't make any sense. But I'm going to wrap it up right there, guys. This housing thing, the job market, it's crazy out here, guys. Come up with your plan. Like I said before, my equipment messed up. Save your money. Track every dollar. A dollar saved is a dollar earned. Be looking for options. How can you make more money? Figure it out, bro. Because this is just the beginning. It's going to get worse. It's just going to happen. It's going to get worse. So figure it out. Come up with a plan. If you can live with family and save money together, I would do that. Like if there's an option to not rent, to move in with mom or dad, or if there's an option to sell your home and move in with mom and dad or whatever, I would seriously consider that, so you guys can save bread. Like it's whoever is sitting on cash is going to make a lot of money during this downturn. There's going to be a lot of people suffering. There's going to be a lot of people who hurt, but there's going to be people making bread. My fathers always say this, it's somebody out there making money. Everybody is losing. Trust me, somebody is winning. Like somebody. Warren Buffett is sitting on a mountain of cash. He is going to turn that into some real money. He's not the only one. You notice all of the wealthiest Americans have been selling off before this thing happened. So do what you can, save your money, come up with a plan, and execute. Simple as that. Execute. And just get ready to ride this thing out. If you have a home, do everything you can to keep your home. And what I mean by that is don't lose your home to foreclosure. Do everything, avoid that. Sell your home if you have to, rent it out if you have to, house hack if you have to, bring in other people. Do what you got to do. Don't mess that up, because on the other side of this, if your credit isn't too bad, you'll be able to get some really good deals on stuff. So just keep that in mind as well. And like if you got some money, man, Drill said now's the time to buy the dip. I would definitely be looking at buying the dip. No one knows where the bottom is. I would just say this, keep in mind, this is early. This is early. If you buy the dip, make sure you have a plan, right? This is early. Trust me, I'm looking at crypto. I'm looking at Bitcoin. Like, Bitcoin is going to go down. If Bitcoin gets anywhere near 20,000, bro, I'm going to start jumping on it. Anywhere near 20,000. And if it gets down to 10,000, I'm going to go ham, right? And I'm not even a crypto guy, but I will definitely jump on that and wait for the next shoot up, because it's definitely going to, at some point, it's going to get back to, on the other side of this thing, when things get back to normal, Bitcoin is going to shoot up again. It might get up to 2, 3, 4, 500,000. So I'm definitely looking at that, but I'm not going to buy it now. I'm watching. I'm just watching. I got triggers. As soon as it hits a certain amount, boom, I jump on there. But now's the time to look at it. And look at Joe, like I've already started. If you got some extra cash right now, Tesla is cheap. Right? Tesla is really cheap right now. I'm not a big fan of the car, but the system, like that driverless thing, bro, Tesla is cheap. You might want to look at that if you got some money. The Mag 7 companies, they're all down. Nvidia and all that, bro. If you got some money, look at it, man. Like Palantir, there's some companies out there. There's some great deals out there. I have no idea where the bottom is. But right now is not a bad time to buy in on some blue chip, stocks out there, blue chip companies. Oh, Carlos, like he just bought a new Tesla, bro. Did you get a deal? And park it in the garage, man. You don't want to park it on the street, man. Somebody been bust your windows out and spray paint it on there, bro. People are really upset with Elon Musk right now, man. But congratulations on the new car. Teslas ride good. My buddies got Teslas. I've been in Teslas for a long time. I just the inside to me, I need more on the inside. Right? Yeah, keep it in the garage, bro. Keep it in the garage. I need more on the inside. The Teslas are just a little too plain for me. But, if I can get a deal on that Porsche Taycan, oh, Lord have mercy, I would jump all over that. But again, that's another thing too. The automotive industry is down, car sales. Man, there's so much going on right now. This is just the beginning. There's a lot of uncertainty out there. Sit back, watch, make your plan, right? And then execute on your plan. But just understand this is going to pass, guys. This is going to pass. Just like all the stuff y'all seen in aviation, this is going to pass. So next time, sometime tomorrow, I'm definitely going to talk about that 737 engine fire. We're just going to do a whole show just talking about aviation stuff. So look out for that thumbnail. We're going to do that tomorrow. And then probably tomorrow evening, tomorrow nightish, maybe even late, we'll talk about some RP stuff. Because I definitely want to talk about this dating thing, bro. I'm seeing it. I'm definitely seeing it. Guys are, again, they're not going their own way, but bro, they are. Women, y'all got to go talk to these dudes. If you're trying to holler at some dude, you better go. It ain't enough just to sit next to him and bat your eyes. You're going to have to actually go up and say hi, because these dudes ain't playing. And as far as dates go, ladies, if you want a guy to go out with you, you should say, hey, let's invite him somewhere and tell him he doesn't have to pay. Because there's so many women out there that have messed up that foodie thing for y'all. They putting it online, bro. Like they done messed it up. I ain't gonna lie to you. Like, I'm not trying to take a woman out to eat. Nope. If I don't know you, we ain't going out to eat. No. Like I said, we're gonna get some ice cream. And ice cream is getting expensive now. We go out here and do some free yoga. But we're gonna talk about tomorrow. I'm gonna do a show about aviation, talking about air traffic control stuff, and then we'll do a show about Red Pill later on tomorrow night or so. Like I said, maybe even a late night show. It's good to be back, man. This was just a test. This was a 2-hour test. Looks like everything is working. We got the buttons working. We got the camera working good. Shout out to my man Carlos over at CL Computers for getting everything up and running for me. And he only charged like $90. He fixed everything. He did everything. And like I said, he had it ready in a matter of hours. I dropped it off and actually came back the next day, but it was actually ready within a few hours. He's like, hey, you can come pick it up now. Excellent work. It is what it is. So appreciate y'all, man. This was fun. I will see y'all tomorrow. Y'all know what it is. I'm DL Saint. This is I Really Want to Know podcast. I'ma holler at y'all soon. Peace.
Nothing like I've ever seen. It's just a thing of beauty.
Darn, that's the end.